Welcome back to the Lemon Factor. I'm Chad, and I'm sitting in one of our two project cars, the 2019 Honda Accord 2.0 Touring. And I want to say recently, but it's actually been a little bit of time since we've installed our FK8 Hybrid Turbo. So we went to a bigger turbo on this car. We installed the 27WON Kuro. And I have to say, right off the bat, it was noticeable. It was significant. And when I say that, it is even with the base map. So I had the base map on to get us started with the tuning, and you knew you had a bigger turbo. So in today's video, I am going to go over my impressions of the 27WON Kuro. At this point, we have finished tuning the car on 91 octane. And we're going to begin tuning it on E85. So I thought this is a perfect balance. On my way to the gas station to get some E85 to put it in the car so we could do some data logging so I can tune it on E85. Why don't I give you my impressions on the car? So if you're interested in finding out what the 27WON Kuro, or really what an upgraded turbo, in this case a hybrid FK8 turbo, feels like on a 10th generation Honda Accord, then stay tuned. The first thing you notice is that turbo spool up. I never noticed it on the stock turbo, but on this turbo, you hear it. It is significant. You don't have to, I don't know if it's coming across for you, but it is noticeable to my passengers. So if you're looking for a quiet turbo, this may not be the one for you. If you're looking for the noises, if you want to hear the turbo spool up, easy. I don't even have to get on it. Let's talk about the spool up of this turbo. For me, I didn't want to go to a huge turbo because I was afraid of losing that immediate response that you get from the stock Honda Accord turbo. I like that. I like all that torque down low. I like giving it a little bit of gas, not a lot of RPMs that it feels like it's just going to jump off the line, and I didn't want to lose that. You do notice a difference in the spool up. I'm not, it's going to happen. You got a bigger turbo, right? If you want to move more air to get more horsepower, then you're going to have a bigger compressor and in turn a bigger turbine, and that's just going to take a little bit longer to spool up. It is not bad at all. It'll be interesting to see what the dyno graph shows, and we're going to dyno this. We'll get it to the dyno. We're going to see how much horsepower we've gained, how much it produces. We're going to compare it to all the modifications we've done pre-dyno. I predict that the dyno graph, the torque on the dyno graph, is going to shift by about 1,000 RPM. So the spool up is about 1,000 RPMs later. And in any other car, that probably would be significant or at least noticeable. And again, it is noticeable here, but we're talking about the stock car spooling up at like 2,000 RPMs. It doesn't do that. It will start spooling at 2,000 RPMs, and you'll start really feeling some pull in torque at about 2,500 RPMs. And then between 25 to 35, it's fun. You can feel it peaking. And that's what I'm going to guess, is it's peaking around 3,500 RPM. How is it drivability? I think it was perfectly stated in the instructions from 27WON. At the end of the instructions, it does say that you may have to adjust the way you drive your car. And you do. But it was really quick for me to make that adjustment. You have to give it a little bit more gas to get the RPMs up just a little bit more to experience that same amount of torque. And actually, you'll experience a lot more torque. Once you hit, let's call it 4,000 RPMs, it's totally different. And it does feel like it keeps pulling and pulling the red line. It'll be interesting to see if our horsepower peak is at redline, if it actually could go higher, or if it's somewhere earlier and then tapers off. It does feel as though it's continuing, that it's pulling hard in comparison to when we took this car to the track, that it felt like about 80 miles per hour and above, it just died off. It just ran out of breath, right? That the turbo was maxed out, that's all you were gonna get. I know some of you are going to ask about the gas mileage, and it's too early to tell. I've just been testing the car here and there. That means some wide open throttle pulls, some longer pulls, highway driving, stop and go. So it's still TBD. I'm gonna guess though that it's gonna go down a little bit. I mean, this is a bigger turbo. It's fun to spool it up. I'm a little heavier on the throttle because I wanna get into it. And because of that, it's gonna need more fuel. You cannot produce more horsepower without adding more fuel and air. With that said, if you're not on it, if you're cruising on the highway, if you're not getting into the boost, it should be the same. You're targeting the exact same stoichiometric 14.7 air-fuel ratio, and you shouldn't notice that. In a month or so, I will be putting our sticky summer tires on. I will be testing the 0 to 60, the quarter mile, etc. But with these all season, the tires easily break loose. I mean, from a standstill, that's a given. The car, even with the stock turbo, was easily breaking the tires loose from a dig. This car is breaking the tires loose from fourth gear. So I have to do fourth gear pulls for the data logging, and I'm spinning the tires higher in the RPMs, not even early on in the RPMs. Who's tuning it? Who's tuning it? I will get into that. I'm almost certain that the next video after this one, I'll go through the tuning process. So for those of you who've never had a custom tune, I'll go through what the process is like. I'll give you my feedback on my experience in tuning this 27WON Kuro. It's been a great experience. Like I said, we're done with the 91 octane tune. Now we're moving on to the E85. But I will let you know that. I'll divulge that to you, but I want to go over it in more detail, the entire process. It does feel like a very fast, very quick car. And part of that, again, is because you still have that down low torque. And a bigger part of that is because of the tuning. The throttle is very responsive. And I've noticed that even more now. Some of you may not notice it, but I notice it more now because of our other project car, the 2023 Toyota GR Supra. That throttle is not as responsive. You have to give it a good amount of pressure to get the car going. No, it doesn't make the car slow, it just makes the feel of the car different. This one, you don't have to give it a lot. Turbo starts spooling up, car starts moving. In comparison, I actually really like how this car is tuned, how the Accord feels better than the Toyota Supra. I'm at the gas station, ready to put that E85 in. If you're not familiar with E85, the flex fuel and the impact it has on the car, I've done a couple videos in which I installed the PRL flex fuel kit. We then put it on the dyno to see how much horsepower it produced, pretty significant. And I did test the 0 to 60 times, and that was noticeable as well. So E85 for this car, E85 for any car, but it's definitely a noticeable improvement. And I'm gonna put anywhere between 30 to 35% mixture in the car. And with this K-Tuner V2, it easily shows me what my percentage is. I wanna let you know that I have started some merch. I've put some shirts out there, but I just started it up, so take a look at the description for a link. I'm going to sell it on Etsy for now. We'll see how that works out going forward, but I'd love your support. If you'd like some merch from the Lemon Factor, please go take a look. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Thank you very much for joining, and until next time.